Hi, this is Funny Minds, and I'm your host, Lynn B., and my co host.
Edward Bess.
And today on our show, we have Jeremy Parsons, and Jeremy is originally from Texas, lived in Nashville for a while back in Texas, and he is a guitarist. He's been all over the United States and Europe, and he's done some really great things. And I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy, and he's going to tell us how he got into music, what he's doing, and what he plans on doing in the future. So, hi, Jeremy. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Sorry, I'm just a voice. uh,
That's
it's
okay. That's okay. Being a voice is important in the world too.
yeah. It's very well put. You're absolutely right. That's the best way to. I wish I would have said that. Yeah. I'm. Music is good. I'm putting out new stuff. I'm. Like you said, I played all over U.S. and Europe, and right now I'm back home in Texas, and I'm playing upwards of like around 20 to 30 shows a month. So I'm staying really busy down here while also working on some new what other people are calling kind of groundbreaking music, which is kind of nice because when we started it during the in the midst of the height of the pandemic, it was we didn't really know what we had, but we knew we loved it. So it's been cool to see people reacting so well to it and being so accepting, especially because I started so traditionally country, very influenced by Hank Williams Sr. And a lot of the Texas traditionalists. And it's just been kind of an interesting creative journey to see where music has taken me. And I'm grateful for every step of the way. But it's really exciting.
Well, what got you into music? Like, what started your whole career off?
I kind of just like walked right into it as if it was a door that someone kept propped open for me. I picked up a guitar when I was in high school. I was 17, so my junior year. I was looking for a new hobby. Like just finished up with some sports, and I was like, what's what's next for teenager Jeremy? That doesn't involve jail or something like that. And then I became a musician, which I became a musician, which could just as easily land you in jail. But the but yeah, so I picked up a guitar and I couldn't put it down. I um I got carried away with it, and it I loved it. I It's weird. I'd always gone to concerts and loved like live music and everything, but like that it never occurred to me that I was like, oh, I could do that someday maybe. Until that moment that I picked up that guitar, and then I just started practicing and playing, and then I started writing like 6 to 8 months later, and then another 6 to 8 months later I was out playing my first open mic or writers night, and the reception was like overly nice, and they were like, come back next week, and then that led to paid gigs, and moved to Nashville. I got to open for George Jones. Like it was just a whirlwind. Stuff kept propelling me. It was like it's stuff just constantly telling me, "Hey, man, I think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing." I was like, "Okay, well, do it till it doesn't work, right?"
Absolutely. So you started when you were a junior in high school, which traditionally is kind of late. Um, but so you probably had to dive in and really put in a lot of work. Did you study at all, or were you self taught, or did you do a little bit of both?
I literally just earned, like, that was around the time you could just look up videos and stuff
Mhm.
on YouTube, and so it was I just kind of immersed myself. I don't I, like it's weird. It's interesting to say it, but I got really hooked on it.
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah.
it was like, and no one was having to force me to do anything. There was nothing else I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Um, and I'd like to say I'm a pretty quick learner, and when it came to that, I think it was just the constant application and never like really finding anything different. And when the writing came around, it was just a whole new aspect that made it even more alluring uh, for me. And obviously, I'd listened to music, and I think I've always had a pretty good ear. So I think
Mhm.
that assisted me along the way. Because if you have that, you can cover more ground quicker.
It really is a massive, you know, point of emphasis with music is your ear. I mean, it's everything. Whether you're singing, playing bass, piano, whatever, your ear has to be in tune, and that's key. But what you were mentioning about videos, that is a big, you know, once that came out, once YouTube came out, and you had basically everybody at your fingertips all the time, and so it definitely probably helps you come along faster, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
than a
especially
once a
with
week
like,
guitar lesson.
yeah,
JD,
yeah,
are
absolutely.
you playing solo, or do you have a band?
Right now I'm playing solo. I'd like to bring my producer out with me and do something that's like kind of just us, like our own version of like what the Black Keys did, and maybe add
Mhm.
some people on like that. But I played with bands in the past, but it's like I don't drink anymore, so like I'm the guy who ends up being the babysitter a lot of the time, and so I'm carpool dad and I'm babysitter. So I'm very particular when it comes to band members.
That's funny. So you put out your album in 2021, right? And
Yeah, yeah, things to come.
and Spotify picked you as on their editorial playlist, which is really really pretty good. So, where do
Yeah,
you go from here?
yeah, that is kind of the question, is it? Well, it's interesting to me how difficult and particular that is. Like that was it was the I think the last single we put out, which was the title track of the record, that ended up getting picked up, and it got put on the Texas country playlist because they have all those spread out, and it seems dang near impossible to do it. But if I mean we did it, then that song still it floats around a lot of playlists and stuff, even with the new music. But it does kind of make it the harder to figure out what to do on the next single and like the newer stuff. It's like it's just trial and error. Especially we're in an industry that's well, just like everything is, like they say, the only thing that's constant is change. We're in an industry that's ever changing in a digital age. So it's like Spotify is the hot ticket right now, and everybody is investing a majority of their energy in it. But who's to say that something else isn't going to come along and be even bigger than that? So you're always just like throwing it out there into multiple hats. And but yeah, the Spotify. I think what we're gonna do with this newer stuff is we just decided, my producer and I just decided it the other day actually, is put almost everything out as a single, and then it'll just eventually be bundled as EPs. So the projects that I'm
Ah,
working on right now, we have a couple of EPs on deck, which is so in total, everybody is going to get, as far as new music from me and us goes, you're going to get close to 30 new songs
Wow.
by the time yeah, by the time the whole project. Man, you give us about 2.5 years of downtime, you're going to get a lot of art.
Yeah.
now you're writing the songs yourself?
Yeah, yes, man. Yeah, I'm writing the songs, and this is actually it's a question because my buddy is Dustin Martin, who I'm working on the tracks with. This is the first time that I've worked with a producer where I'm also giving the producer a writer's credit,
Mhm.
because he's basically scoring the tracks in a way that I don't think a producer has ever done uh, with or for me, and it's it's coming out really, really, it's really powerful stuff. And it's not only like it matches the lyrics that I'm writing in a way that I don't think is ever, no offense to any of my old producers if you're hearing this, but it's really syncing up with the emotion perfectly. It's kind of steering me. He's directing me to kind of sing differently at some points too. So like when it was discussed, I was like, man, we need to give you a writer's credit, because this is pretty profound in my mind. And so yeah, I'm writing all the lyrics in the original, the structure as far as like melodically, and then giving it to him, and he's creating this new scenery around us, and then I go in and try to match what he's produced, and it's so far it's working very, very well, and we're really good friends too, so that also does help. We already have a chemistry.
Yeah. Are you using Pro Tools?
Oh yeah, we all do, man. It's
Yeah.
especially with like a lot of this stuff is that's just like a built-in software at this point that's in a lot of programs, and it's not only for vocals though, but like if you get there's some instruments that you just can't, like if you get a cool sound and you want to shave something off that isn't necessarily sonically pleasing, you can apply it to so many things.
Yeah.
And like harmonies, if you want to smooth out a harmony, like it's fantastic. And in this market, if you're not striving to make something sound like as like absolutely great as it possibly can sound, then you got to utilize those tools, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And the better, the people I've worked with in the past that, I've been fortunate to work with, were very, very good Pro Tool users, and that made the process so much quicker, so much easier. And, they just had so much more freedom.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's important too, as an artist, you shouldn't lean lazily on that stuff. Like me, I'm like I have pretty good pitch, so like if I miss a part, and with today, like you can punch in so easily, but like I usually try to take every line and get it emotionally perfect. Because that's important. I think back in the day they were such rock stars about that. Like all that stuff was done on tape, and if you punched in, you had to punch in like you cut in literally on a piece of tape.
Yeah.
So we got no excuse for like missing a note. Like if you consider yourself a professional singer, like get back in there and do it.
What I got to ask you, I'm a guitarist as well. Who's some of your biggest influences? Like when you started, what is it, like a Hendrix, more towards blues, Stevie Ray Vaughan?
No, it was actually like older. I got into, my dad really loved like Chet Atkins. Like I can't play anything like Chet Atkins, but like that led me to like guys like Merle Travis, and like even hearing like like the Hank Williams Sr. has this record Alone with his guitar, and his guitar style playing was like you didn't hear it out in front a lot, but he was taught by a dude named T-Tot in Alabama who was a blues player, and Hank's guitar playing was very, very cool. His timing wasn't great, but like we all have our moments.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, like speaking of timing, like Willie Nelson, like as far as if you're doing like one string stuff, like Willie's your guy. But it's kind of all over the place.
I love Willie.
I really like. Yeah, oh yeah, me too. People would say he's Willie great, It's a bad joke for you. That one's on the house. Yeah, no, I think I like unique voices, and I don't mean that just vocally. I do mean like there's a voice in your hands as well, and I love when that comes out in an artist, especially if they're also a vocalist, like watching that sync up. Like Chris Stapleton is a great example right now. Like when he plays the lead riff, you're like, oh man, it sounds just like him. He's just in that.
Oh yeah.
My favorite is Blake Shelton. I love Blake Shelton.
Oh, he's hilarious. I had the fortune of getting to hang out with him on his bus.
Oh, you're so lucky.
One day. Yeah, we were in Ohio, and that was before he was on TV. It was right before he did The Voice.
Oh, it was before he did The Voice?
Yeah, it was before he did The Voice. Yeah, because we were in Ohio, and he was opening for George Strait.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I'm like, they're like, hey, you want to go see George Strait? And I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. I'm from Texas. Of course I want to go see George Strait. And then Blake was also there, and I guess my buddy, they all lived he used to play lead guitar for Joe Nichols. And Blake Shelton and Joe Nichols moved to town from Branson, Missouri around the same time, a long time ago. So they were all close. So we went on the bus and hung out before and after the show, and I didn't realize how hilarious he was until that moment. I was like, dude, you're super funny. And then he went on The Voice, and I'm like, I was like, of course he's gonna do well. The only thing I didn't like about the whole experience is the only thing they had to drink on the bus was Diet Sprite and vodka. It was disgusting.
I know, and that's what he drank on The Voice too. Because somebody picked up his cup one day, and on TV, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're right! It's straight vodka."
Yeah, well, he said he made it when we went on the bus. I was like, "Is that all you got?" He was like, "Yeah, they're putting me on a diet." I was like, "Oh man."
Well, this was his last year, so I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him terribly, not being there.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if the show lost a lot of its allure because he's such a big personality.
I know.
I would definitely agree with that.
So when you were in Nashville, did you get up on the stage? Did you sing at the Grand Ole Opry? Did you do anything there?
No, the as close as I got to the Opry was being turned down by them probably 150 times. They so when I was first starting out, they had I was, like I said, I was doing the traditional stuff, and I was close with little Jimmy Dickens. Like, he helped me promote my first record and was in my first music video. And it was like he was in a commercial with me on RFD TV. So he was a really big advocate for if you were younger, getting into the country music game, and kind of doing all that he could for you. Very, very just sweet, compassionate. Like, he just got it. Like, I don't think he was ever in music for the wrong reasons. Like, the fame thing just happened for him, and he was always grateful for it. You could just tell that was his attitude. But so it's like he recommended me for the Opry a few times, and then they still turned me down. And my management at the time was also working with Aaron Tippin and Tracy Lawrence. So whenever they would get an offer to play the Opry and they couldn't do it, they would throw my name in the hat. But they were like, "Nah." But I was like, it got. Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. After you get behind the scenes, I won't say anymore, but about it. But after you get behind the scenes, it kind of loses its allure a little bit. Like, if they called and asked me to play, I would do it, and it would be an honor because I was playing something that was like a staple from the past. But the direction that they've gone in is, especially it's been subtly over all past 10 years. It just seems to get it's just not what it was. And like, well, nothing ever is, but there's stuff that I think would be more meaningful. Playing the Ryman in general, I feel like is more important to me than playing the Opry.
Okay. Okay. Well, it seems like it hasn't hurt your career at all, not playing at the opera, because you've done a lot of really good things.
Well, yeah, no, I was actually talking to a buddy the other day who played the Opry, and he doesn't know where to go next. So it's like all right, well, I guess it was a blessing in disguise, It's like, because after you get that high, like where do you go?
Right.
As far as figuring out the next steps in your career. And mine has been one of those gradual inclines. So it's like that kind of like pie graph that you want to see, or that line chart. You want to see that gradual rise, and it's tedious, because I do outside of like Michael Stover at MTS Management, like it's basically just he and I. Like I do all my own booking and like show posters and work out my travel details and do that with venues. And it's nice to have that knowledge, but at a certain point, I think it'll also be nice to have someone that I can hand all that stuff off to, that I can trust fully.
Right.
So it's figuring out the next steps in your career as an independent artist is it's where it actually becomes a job. Like getting up there and playing is like it's playing. It is work, but it's also play, and you're loving every minute of it, because you'll play these 3-hour shows and you're like, oh man, it's already the end. Like it's like we got here way too fast. But yeah, it's cool, man. It's a very, very cool life, especially when you look around and you go talk to, like, one of my sisters is a teacher, and I talked to her about, she's like, man, teaching is just like getting worse. And I was like, well, the music industry is getting it has its complications, but like I wouldn't wish being a teacher on anybody these days.
Yeah, that's true.
So true.
That is so true. So is music your full-time thing? I mean, you don't do anything else? You're just
right.
dedicated
It's
to your
just me
music?
and music. Yeah, absolutely. I've turned it into a full-time job, and I've been able to do that for over 10 years now. And
Great.
which is interesting. Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it, and I don't think about it enough. I don't give myself enough, like, well, you have those down days, and you're like, if I go back and look at everything that I've been able to do as far as maintain this platform for that long as an independent
Right.
artist, like it's it's pretty cool to say. And it's also like it's just you never know what's going to happen. And I think it's important to, especially if anybody who's just starting out is listening to this, like, don't sign all your stuff away, because if you own that and one piece of that material blows up, you're set. Like I saw people during during that 2021, and they had songs blow up on TikTok, and they immediately signed a label deal. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, that was all yours, and you just gave 80% of it to somebody else.
Wow.
Like,
that's the old, I mean, that's been around forever. People, the music industry and bad contracts and signing away your rights and publishing and all this stuff. And people obviously got a little wiser now. At the same time, you still have some people out there that are dummies.
Yeah, I think it was a
well,
lot worse years ago.
Oh, it was a lot worse. But like, there's honestly there's less of a reason to sign a label contract now than I think there's ever been. Because you have so many platforms to reach people, and if it's not just about being famous, and it's about surviving doing what you love to do, then the focus should be different. But if it's just about like, hey, I want this recognition for this one thing that I did, then I guess go ahead and sign it, because that's like,
Yeah.
otherwise there's no reason.
Right.
Because it's like maintaining everything that you own by yourself is way easier than figuring out, what percentage you get to survive on for like 5 to 10 years before the contract runs out on the back end, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's a knowledge is power. The music industry, most entertainment industries are gross places to exist in if you don't protect yourself.
Yeah. No,
It,
100%.
and it's just, it's always been a fact. And it's like, granted, I chose to be in this industry. Did I know everything about it when I got into it? No, I didn't, but I've learned. And I've also learned, you really learn how to say no, which is probably more important than learning how to say yes to people.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's all like, yeah, basically you're just like walking around in a suit of armor, and you're adding pieces as you go. You're like, sweet, I leveled up. I know how to protect myself.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's nice, because it's unfortunately true, and you see a lot of people, especially younger people, that would move to Nashville, and you're like, don't do it. Like I sit down in a meeting with a young lady who had moved to Nashville, and her mom flew in to have the meeting with me. She's like, what do you think? Should my daughter sign this deal? And I was like, oh, absolutely not. And they ended up signing the deal. Yeah, no, it's like I was like, they ended up signing the deal. And I was like, well, it's like, that's not, it wasn't, I'm not, she was like, are you upset with me? And I was like, absolutely not. It was always going to be your choice.
Right.
It's just like,
Right.
clearly you're going to learn something from this. And, I hope whatever that is better than most situations that look like this situation look like. But it's, people are going to do what they're going to do. It's like, but that doesn't mean you can't try to help,
Right.
Yeah.
I think the worst,
especially that's,
I think the best
I'm sorry.
example of all of this, the debauchery of what someone has done is Elvis Presley. I think what was done to him by Colonel
By
Parker
Colonel
was
Tom
absolute.
Parker. Yeah.
Oh, really? I mean, like, what that man did was unbelievably evil. It was evil, you know.
Oh yeah. But like, that's the thing too. It's like, you remember the setting of how that situation was able to occur. It's like, what did he ask Elvis? Elvis said, I was like, I want to be famous. I want to be a rock star.
Hmm.
So it's like, you can that's the energy that I'm talking about. If you want to be famous, and that's your only goal, because that's all you know to focus on, then like, people will see that, and like the dollar signs and that in their eyes
Right.
will just
Mhm.
light up. They're like,
Right.
I can do whatever I want with this person, and they won't care as long as they're famous.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
You're right.
it's like being very, very aware of your dialogue. It's like that's very important. Like it's like, what, be careful what you wish for, they always say, right?
Well,
Mhm.
that's
You
true.
say it out,
That's
you
true.
say it out, yeah, you say it out loud, it's a part of the universe. So it's like, and it's that's the only issue that I've ever had with younger people getting into the industry, because like, no, like nobody knows what they want when they're 17. I mean,
Right.
most people don't even know what they want till they're in their 30s. Like, so it's just like, it's like, man, that's just, it's rough. But yeah, that's why, like, I think that's a big part of like starting my journey later, had me looking at things very differently.
Yeah.
And I'm
Right.
grateful for that. My focus was like, oh, I genuinely love this, and there's no pressure on this. I don't have like a stage mom or something always standing there like, this is what you need to aim for. Like, Like, I mean, you got people in your family that are like, at the height of my career in Nashville, my sister was calling me, telling me that I should come back to San Antonio and get a job stacking boxes in Target. And I was like,
Okay.
yeah. So I was like, man, do you even like see the stuff that I post like right now? Like, I'm like, she's like calling me. I'm in Norway playing with like a bunch of Opry legends and stuff. Like, all right, I'll consider that. Thank you so much. But it's like everyone's got to deal with their stuff. But it's yeah, no, I mean it shouldn't break you down, because if you're like every day you wake up and you're like, wow, I'm doing something I love still. This is awesome. Let's go figure out how to do more of it.
Hmm.
Right. Right. Well, someday maybe we'll see you on the CMAs. You never know.
Yeah, that's true, especially now because they're doing everything in Texas for some reason. I don't know what that's all about, but
I know.
they can't.
So
Yeah, that's very weird.
is that where you're from, San Antonio? Or is that where you're at now?
Yeah, both. Where I'm from and where I moved back. So
You
right
came
before the
back.
the pandemic, yeah, November 2019, I came back, and that uh because Nashville's one of those places, like you get a lot from it, like songwriting, and you're hanging out with some of the best of the best there as far as musicians and songwriters and
Right.
everything
Oh yeah.
goes. But I think, like most things in life, like as soon like you reach this point where you're like, okay, I feel like I'm not getting anything from this situation, whether that be like a relationship or something. And in this case, it was the city for me, where I was like, I feel like it's taking more than I'm getting in return.
Yeah.
So it felt like it was time to go. And then my dad was also, and he's getting older. He's 77 years old. So and it's that's time you don't get back with people you love. And I don't
Mhm.
want, I try to live my life without any regrets. So, and it turned out it was a really good time to come back before everything shut down for. So,
Well, that's
I
good.
mean, now you got half of California
yeah,
moving to Texas.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. They moved just north of me, thank goodness.
Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I wish we could have seen you. But I did go online, and so I have seen you online. But you have been a pleasure to talk to, and I really wish you all the best in your career and what's going on. And really, I hope to say someday, wow, here's Jeremy. I had him on my show not too long ago, and here he is up on stage on TV. I would love
There
to
you
say
go.
that.
Well, for both of our sakes, I hope you get to say that too. And maybe we'll do a reunion deal where we have the big reveal, and next time I'll actually show my face. There we go.
I
That would
know.
be
That's
great.
what we'll do. We'll announce to the audience the big reveal. Jeremy Parsons is actually going to be in person on our show, and everyone will get to see him. So yes, we will do that, Jeremy. That's a wonderful idea. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Well, to all of my audience, I'm going to say thank you for spending time with us and listening to our show. And we are funnyminds.com. You can go on our website, and on the website, you're going to see we have a store with crazy stuff. We also have two organizations that we're very involved with, and that's St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Women's Breast Cancer. So you'll see a big purple button there. And if you are capable and able and want to donate to those organizations, you can push that button and do that. And, Jeremy, you have been an absolute pleasure to be on the show. I am so happy.
Hey, Jeremy, where can people find you?
Yes, let us know where people can find you.
I think and also it's been a pleasure to be on y'all show. I really appreciate y'all. This is very fun. I felt like I could have talked for like 5 more hours. So yeah, which is probably a problem for me sometimes, I guess. The best place to go is jeremyparsonsmusic.com. There's links to my socials, and
Okay.
where I'll be playing all my shows and YouTube videos and everything you could possibly need. And if I forgot to put anything on there, you can also message me and tell me.
Yep. So
Okay.
that's JeremyParsonsMusic.com for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Jeremy. Well, you go take care of your lady and have a great day. And we'll be listening to you soon.
All right. Y'all have a great day too. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.